May and Daisy take on a bomb and a crystalline tower of Shrike, while Sarge proves he's willing to sacrifice anyone to get to Izel. It's the big reunion, S.P.O.I.L.E. style, which means, of course, a lot of punches and explosions. On this week's Agents of S.P.O.I.L.E., Season 6, Episode 9, Collision Course, Part 2. Hey everyone, D here, and welcome to this week's review of Agents of S.P.O.I.L.E. So yes, of course, all the spoilers you could want are coming right up. Also, reminder, quick jump index system. Right down in the section below in our description, we'll have this review completely broken down into easily jump to time-coded segments. You can watch this review in any order you would like. Alright, so, let's just get right into things this week because, wow, there was a lot to get into. It's a two-parter episode. Part 1 is almost all setup, which is what last week was. Part 2, almost all action, which is what this week's was. So, like I said, a lot of stuff going in, and giving us that energy straight off. We begin this episode with a great visual that we ended the last episode of, and that is, again, that 3-shot of the truck heading towards the tower with the spaceship coming down right behind it. It's just a beautiful establishing shot of what all of the tension is that's going on. I also like the fact that we've got a lot of smart people doing smart things. They are showing their experience. We get that again straight off. We have Mack in the cockpit. You know, he's talking to Davis, and they're realizing things aren't right. You know, Sarge wasn't the self-sacrificing type. There's got to be some other play going on right here. Mack, again, using his experiments, being smart, not being a sucker. Always like that. Sarge, with his guys, also establishing themselves as smart and experienced. Oh, you've got a super fast person? That's all right. We've got a tool to deal with that. Really, even that quick moment, we're establishing just how much history this team has had, how much they have dealt with, how capable and prepared Sarge is. Again, reminds us of another good, fine-looking gentleman, similar makeup there. I thought that was a great bit. Just, again, Yo-Yo's not a threat. We got a way to deal with it. We even got a little idea of the pain and loss of faceness that can happen with these things. So, again, just a great beginning. Fitz and Simmons. I mean, of course they're smart, but they're quick. They're quick at figuring these things out. And the fact that the crew is all messed up, that they're not acting right, that there's something wrong. They're immediately thinking, is it a pathogen? Is it a parasite? Whatever it is, we can't let it get to Earth. So everybody is assessing their situation very clearly, very straightforward with everything that's going on. So, I mean, it was a great just opening few minutes of establishment. Now, I'm not going to try and get into too many specifics in with this. Who knows if that ends up being the case as these reviews go on. Because there was so much going on in this episode. Small quips, great moments. We'll get into some of the big stuff. But I want to kind of dive in a little bit on Sarge here. Sarge and Izel specifically, and sort of their history. Because everybody is revealed very quickly in this episode to show their true colors. Sarge, we see the real ruthlessness in him. Before, yeah, he was a murderer, but maybe you're saying he's weighing for the greater good. He's making sacrifices that we want to do. Even with Snow, he didn't kill her. He left her with the bomb. But again, I'm caught in a position. We've got a goal. We've got to get to it. But as the episode goes on, you really see how it's less mission-oriented and really more obsession as this starts off. I mean, what does he say is when Pax ends up getting caught by Yo-Yo there? Pax didn't have a chance. That no one slows us down. was his big line. We can't do this. No one slows us down. It's what we say. And Jocko's like, well, that's what you say. But that's not all. I mean, Jocko again, heart. We'll get to Jocko. Bad. It's a bummer. But his sacrificing of Pax right there. Not only is he not willing to get him, once he realized that Pax has really been compromised and forces Jocko to shut the wall and go out, boom, shoot Pax, put the wall back up, no one slows us down. And again, we're seeing it before as kind of like a mission-oriented. And this scene we're seeing, no, it's more of an obsession. Even as he repeats it, walking away, no one slows us down. When he gets on the phone with Izel, or on the radio with Izel, you can hear that anger, that desperation. When he's finally captured, he's caught inside the containment pod. It's almost pleading to let him go. That's all that he has. I mean, again, so close, he can taste it. But that willingness to sacrifice Snow, Pax, Jocko. Like I said, they've been together for a long time. Certainly Jocko and Snow and Sarge. Pax, I think, is slightly newer. But they've got this long establishment, and all of those Sarge willing to sacrifice to get to Izel. So again, that obsession really putting away all sense of being able to deal with him in any type of reasonable manner. Now Izel, on the other hand, shows her cards immediately in this episode. Is she bat crazy? Yes, she is. And I'm not just referring to the bird bat type Shrike. When she's talking with Fitz, you know, is something wrong with the crew? Oh, no. No, not at all. I've just, you know, they're not feeling anything at all. We all agreed that these rogues were stupid, and so I've just given them a new purpose. I mean, again, all crazy godlike statements right there. And I'm not sure, that was freaky enough, but even leading into Fitzsimmons, you didn't know how valuable you are, how intelligent someone to speak with. It's like, oh my God, what are we, pets? You find out, Terran specifically, and there's knowledge with that, is partly useful for her. But even then, when things start to fall apart, she immediately turns on them. Maybe you're not as valuable as I think. I mean, again, this is just classic crazy villain stuff. So it was very good how, and again, pretty quickly in this episode, we really get to see everybody's true colors, which is perfect because this episode in many ways felt like a finale. As opposed to really in the middle of the season episode. Which was kind of interesting, really, because, I mean, look, there was a lot of build-up getting into this course. I mean, collision course does pretty much signify two forces colliding, running into each other. It's not just Sarge and Izel running into each other, or almost, or trying to, or the ship, or the truck running into the giant crystalline tower there. Not just that type of collision, or Izel coming back down, or even the big reunion of Fitzsimmons back on Earth, which was really drawn out and very sweet and a little crazy too. We'll get on that. So we knew a lot of forces were coming together, but it sort of wrapped up this first chunk of the season, you know, kind of cleanly. I mean, even with the whole reunion speech and luncheon and it's all down and the ship blown up and everything by the very end, it felt very much like a season finale. And yet we've got 4 more episodes. Now, is this a feint? Or are they kind of doing the pods again? I mean, okay, this season is 13 episodes. Season 7, which they've already shot and finished up and everything, I'm pretty sure they already finished shooting all of that. Also, probably going to be 13 episodes. That's 26 episodes. It's just over a season. I mean, season 4, when they split it into 3 pods, was kind of, what is it? It was like 8, 8, and 7 or something like that. 7, 7, and 8. So a similar kind of count. If we get through 9 episodes here, we get 4 more, we do like half a pod. And that leads us into season 7, which has the other half of the plot and then one more. I mean, they can sort of sneak 3 connected storylines in with this because it does feel like a transition. It feels, again, not just with the arrival of Fitz and the kind of closing up of that sort of arc, but they have dealt with the Shrike assault on Earth, the initial stuff, the collision, the Sarge running into Izel here. It would be interesting if we start off with this next half of the season just as like halfway. You know, we get through 4 episodes, which establishes whatever the next storyline is, which I'm guessing going to be the history between Izel and Sarge. And that may lead us into the monoliths and a whole another sort of chunk of storyline. So, and then they do 4 episodes and they have basically a mid-season break and then pick it up at the end there. So again, not sure if they're doing it, but because this really felt so finale-ish, it just makes me wonder, are we basically moving into the next season next week, but we'll only get half of it before we have to take a several-month break. Hopefully several months and not a whole year. Now, like I had said, this episode was chock full of action and scenes and moments, and it's a little difficult to get down to one scene of the week. So, I mean, we do have one that does stand out, but there were several of notable mention, and I want to get to those first. First off, the bomb, the collision with the tower, the truck collision. I mean, again, great sequence right there. And we're not just talking about Deke not being able to dazzle. Deke was very annoying in this episode, I have to say. And his inability, his complete collapse of his confidence into being unable to deal with ends up being an atomic bomb. Nor is it Snow's complete collapse and panic and being unready for death. The one who's always talking about being a butterfly and how beautiful that transition is going to be, not really ready to happen for her. And I'm not even talking about the awesome, cool collision of the truck in with the tower, which was great. And I was not expecting them to shatter off into thousands of Shrike. I mean, you know it was going to grow big enough and then break, and then the Shrike were going to come out. Didn't know if you collapsed it beforehand, that would also happen. Luckily, they stayed local and didn't just fly off across the world and such. All of those, very cool. But let's be honest, the savior of that moment is Daisy with the awesome, cool bomb save. I was wondering when they did that break and she just reached for it, I was like, is she just going to grab the bomb thing out of it? She's just going to grab the whatever atomic material, explosive material that was in the middle there and just break it that way or yank off the switch, just something crazy like that. Because it's interesting. One thing I did like about that scene with Deke messing with the bomb is it wasn't like, there's 15 triggers, which wire do I cut? Whenever they have those in movies, it always annoys me. If you have a master bomb maker that is making for something to be found and wants it to go off and wants to taunt police, then you have secondary and tertiary triggers. If you just want something to go boom, you don't want it complicated. And I appreciated them not making it complicated. So I just thought, maybe this is just a save. But no, the fact that she uses her powers and just gives it in the suspension to keep the shock from hitting it and just sort of hold it in a neutral space, that was just awesome. It was a brilliant solution to the problem and not very expected. Then, of course, we have the Shrike getting in. And sure, Deke doesn't really know, I think, necessarily. I don't know if he's been completely schooled on the whole Shrike going in the mouth thing. So maybe screaming as the Shrike comes in, not your best move. But he's got May with him, which, again, awesome. And I know there's been talk about Yo-Yo and Keller's death, and couldn't she have used her speed to save? And, you know, couldn't she have grabbed and all that? Which you can debate one way or the other. Also, there's the panic, there's the emotion. You got the love that can slow you down, that can make you rethink. All it takes is a second. With May, none of that going on. Shrike comes down, self-impale. come on, May's badass. And that was just an awesome badass scene for May to show just how tough she is, how fast she is, and how just unafraid committed she is. She has no problem just going straight off because she knows her versus Shrike, May's gonna win. So that was great. Mack versus Sarge. That, again, another great fight. And we see some different techniques going on. I mean, again, Mack being smart. I loved, of course, when Yo-Yo had got in and undid his cuffs the moment that Sarge had let the screen go down so Jocko could go get Pax. Before Sarge shot Pax there, she lets Mack loose. And he's just standing, waiting for his moment. And it was great. Just throw the cuffs, distraction, go for that, right in. And again, it was a great fight because we have Mack with his strength and Sarge, we have different technique and just commitment. The tenacity to push through. I mean, it was a great couple of blows, but once Mack had gotten Sarge up and you thought that was going to be all over with. But no, Sarge, smart, tactical fighter. Push back, throws Mack off balance, is able to turn around. It went back and forth really nicely. But it's Mack Hammer. He's going to win in this fight. I mean, it's not Coulson. If it was Coulson, he'd probably win because then he'd have the shield hand and all that extra stuff. But again, it was just awesome, especially again seeing that moment. We was talking about Sarge's obsession with Izel when he's down and Mack keeps asking him, stand down. When Jocko walks around the corner and he sees that that it's really over with, he's willing even then to go off, really sacrifice Jocko. Everyone explode out just because of that obsession. Unwilling to let it go, which is really what makes Sarge so dangerous. But of course he's felled with a hammer blow by the Mack Hammer, which was just awesome. So those were all big, beautiful sequences. But when it gets to the scene of the week, you want something that just rings true. And that does get us to our scene of the week for this week, and that is Shrike versus Daisy. Just a beautiful, beautiful sequence. We had the tension built up. We see it's going down. They're breaking into the truck. It's all over with. You got to make your last stand. And a choke point. I mean, that was perfect. Deke, what are you doing? What you do at a time? But May called it. It's a choke point. It is a single area all of your foe has to go through. It's how a large numbered force can beat back, or a small number of force can beat back a larger number of force. It's actually how the sort of 300 battle went down, is you make them go through small areas, take that big number, move it down into single file or small groups that you can take out. And that's what happens with the truck. All the Shrike have to go in through the door and have to go through that one corridor in order to get to Daisy and May and all of them. And Daisy's got the power to deal with the Shrike. Not only do we know that the vibration can throw them off, but at this point, because Daisy's also worked with Monolith and had to resonate with that, I think she's more tuned in, since the Shrike are made of the same material the Monolith is, or the crystals they put out can make it. I'm going to just say there's a resonant quality to that Daisy can tap into. And again, it was a beautiful shot. Just seeing all the Shrike coming in, and we get the nice pull away completely in slow motion as the Shrike falling out and then just start into dust. It was just a beautiful perspective shot. A wonderful use of slow-mo. Use slow-mo to paint a picture. And that's exactly what they did. You would have lost this in fast motion at regular speed. It's something you could only really pick up in slow-mo. And it was a beautiful shot. Yes, it's victory for our team. Yay. It's Quake doing awesome Quake stuff. But really, it was just from a composition standpoint, was just an amazing shot. And that's why it's the scene of the week this week. But when you've been looking for Fitzsimmons for so long and they're just within reach, you know you gotta go get them. You can't let him get away, which leads to our wonderful rescue sequence and a bit of sacrifice on Jocko's part. Well, giant sacrifice on Jocko's part. Beautiful done. I love just the opening bit of Fitz and Simmons hiding. And Fitz is just, you smell nice. A little smile off of Gemma. I mean, again, it's like just all of those tiny little moments that are just so full of character and are cute, and it's nice. It's a little bit of levity amidst all of the action, which they were wonderful with doing it. The whole Puff scene. What do you Puff putties? No, there's no joy with them. Anyway, but again, great assault. I love Jocko working with the team. I love Mack trying to be clear on what it is. Until we know if they're Shrike or they're taking what the status is, we take it easy on them. First one around the corner, Jocko goes, bam! I said to take it easy. It gets back up. No. Good call. Good call. Again, great bit of levity, great bit of action. We're leaving teamwork, communication. That was all nice. Now, we'll touch on this again, the whole closing bit. But look, I understand Jocko seeing Izel and there's a mission. And I appreciate that Davis was like, hey man, that's not what we're supposed to do. But he's not always one of those back down guys. He's willing to go in it. And I'm concerned this is where we lose Davis. It may not have gone the same way. It could be getting previews and stuff, but this is the point. Whenever two people come from separate areas and you don't follow one of them and they pop up and it's like, don't know what happened, and the bad guy is gone, that's usually when possession happens, body changes, or Shrike inside of Davis. Could be under control. I don't know. I don't want to think that way, or maybe it's a way to show us that this could be reversed, because I like Davis, but I'm a little concerned about that point there. Just want that to be known. But then getting back and using... I love the escape sequence, okay? First off, the fact that the Quinjet's been taken over, that's not a good indication of things for Jocko, really, as things end up. But I love the fact that it sort of ends where episode 1 ended. It ends kind of at our beginning, back inside the airlock. Because I almost thought for a minute, like, did you fix it? Are you going to hit the button again and open the airlock for everybody else that's out there, and you're going to be fine inside the airlock? It would have been too repetition. The fact that Jocko has his jacket and is able to use that portal to get out. I mean, again, just brilliant and beautiful. I mean, and we get kind of, again, our double reunion shot, because, of course, we have Mack's giant big hug for Fitz when they run into each other. All right, big guy, let me down. I mean, again, Fitz happy to see everyone. Everyone else really happy to see Fitz, who was dead in their eyes. So that was sort of a whole great little sequence and reunion there. And as they come through on the truck and go down and get our second reunion with May and Daisy, super sweet. The Deke stuff, again, annoying. Bobo, who are you? So we have sweet and comedy all kind of rolled into one. And then we have Jocko finishing the mission. Because of course he would. We had great moments, great conversations between he and Yo-Yo. I love that sort of turn, reminding him about the baker. What is it that you would do? What would your family have wanted you to be done? But they want you doing this endless... Even in, I love the great line. He's like, we're here to stop and save your planet. And she's like, and how's that working out? Previously with all of your other planets. Not so good. Maybe we got to change some tactic. And I mean, again, that was a good way of getting Jocko in over on S.H.I.E.L.D.'s side, to turn away from Sarge. But he's committed to the mission, and certainly wants revenge against the beast that took his family from him. So, very sweet for him to do. It hurts. Really like Jocko. Yeah, he was a big tough guy, but he's really a sweetheart at heart, and maybe that's why Yo-Yo was able to talk to him, because he's kind of like Mack in that way as well. Big guy, very tough, very strong guy, very emotional on the inside. So yeah, it's a bummer that we lost Jocko. I understand the move. I understand his goal. I just hope that he had gotten eyes on Izel before he blew. Because she ain't on the ship, man. First off, Quinjet. Easy way to go there. Also, possible possession of Davis there. Because apparently they're all just living in skins. So yeah, that's our little extra insight into our Izel-Sarge relationship. Somebody in the comment or in the chat, in our live chat discussion the first half of the season, brought up the idea of whether or not Sarge and Izel were married. It was like, no way has that happened. Did start to feel a little bit like that in this episode, I have to say. Because he did sort of argue like an angry married couple. And part of me was thinking, I mean, again, Sarge is... well, again, we get a couple of things in this. One, the reason why Sarge is so angry is they took him from his family, the woman he loved, and then they took his memories of them. Again, this would all kind of back up the whole Sarge is Coulson idea if he was somehow abducted and his body was used or possessed. Now, we've been talking about, is it from Ghost Riders, this part of that deal? I'm not going to dismiss that possibility, but he's definitely possessed in some manner. I think that was very clear because Izel had mentioned, is it just the skin you're wearing? Is that, first of all, they definitely know each other and they seem to be from the same place. And while Sarge wants to kill Izel, Izel doesn't seem so interested necessarily in killing Sarge, maybe reminding him who he is, that he has forgotten who he is. So, is it a writer going after Izel? Possibly. Is it some other demon that is using Phil's body as a body? Maybe a non-corporeal or something else. I'm not going to say necessarily Shrike-ish, but in some way possessing the body and using that to go after Izel. And ultimately we're going to find out that they do have a relationship. Maybe Izel is the person that the demon or whatever that's in Coulson was in love with and lost memory of. I mean, again, it starts to get very funky, and you know they're going to find some real interesting, unexpected directions to go. So, in some ways, it does reinforce the idea that this is Coulson, or at the very least, it is his body that's being used by some other force. The question is when Izel is Izel talking to this other force and not necessarily Sarge? Again, Sarge is just the skin, the Coulson's skin that it's wearing. Maybe that's what it's referring to. It doesn't have any memories. Is that the memory of losing its family? Those are Coulson's. But this entity, whatever is possessing him, doesn't have any memories right now. There's definitely a connection between them, probably both from the dark dimension, the realm of fear and darkness. But I think this does start to buy in more the idea that this is Coulson's body being used. How in the whole time sequence that's done, again, don't know that. It's for the next pod. Alright, just a couple of small things. 1, Chronica 2. It appears that Sarge is responsible for the destruction of that planet. Well, sort of. In the conversation, it seems to imply that the Shrike had taken over the planet or the Chronicoms, but they're kind of machines, so I'm not entirely sure how that worked. And maybe that was a confusion part on Sarge's, who believed that the planet was already lost to Izel and the Shrike, and cut off the limb so it wouldn't be a threat. So it seems to imply there that he believed that the planet was lost, the Shrike were going everywhere. If the recording we saw was Chronica 2, that the place was overrun with Shrike, but it was Coulson who burned the planet and turned it to molten rock and cold stone at this point. So, again, Chronicoms aren't going to be really happy with him if they find that out. And they will. Got a lot of Deke this episode. Wish we had a little less. I mean, I like Deke. I love Jeff Ward's playing of the character. Mostly I like Deke. They lean too much into annoying Deke this episode is the one thing that just I kept almost wanting to fast forward on the show. It was just painful. Just, I mean, okay. May and Daisy's discussion about don't know which is worse, Snow or Deke. That was kind of funny. Well, she is a serial killer. So again, choosing wise, does that make it worse for choosing her or her use for being? Again, it doesn't really clarify the question. But they kind of lean in too much on the annoying side of Deke, especially when we got to the whole reunion and the Bobo and the talk with Fitz. And yeah, of course, we got to see this. I believe other Fitz called that he was the worst, which he kind of was into, and just talking about his money. And then the scene with Daisy when he's like, hey, I know people have feelings, and then someone else gets money. And then, I mean, it's just, they really leaned into the worst sides of the character, and they don't need to do that. Maybe make a small note or a comment, but it really was pushed too far, I think. It got annoying. Again, I just wanted to get past those scenes. Snow is really not happy with Sarge. Probably blames him for Jocko's death, but definitely not happy with being abandoned back in the atomic bomb-laden truck. And she definitely expresses herself. But also a murderer. She should be in lockup. I really love the whole painted door portal technology that they used. I'm really excited. I'm glad they used that for the escape to get everybody off of the ship. And then, well, unfortunately, Jocko using it to get back. Less happy with that choice because, again, like Jocko. But I was thinking about that whole painted door thing a little earlier in the episode, specifically when Davis and Jocko found Izel on the ship. And Davis is like, no, man, it's not the mission to go take her out. It's just a rescue mission. Because to me, once they split up and they're going to go around and attack, that's when bad things happen. And like I mentioned before, I think something bad did there. But that's what I was thinking. I'm like, no, man, just paint one of your door things right here. Leave it, and then you can leave. And then come back later, and boom, right there on the ship. So, I mean, they kind of did use that to get back and attack. I just thought I was thinking of it sooner. And maybe we wouldn't have lost Davis. I'm just saying, I hope we did. Are all the females on your planet this powerful? Yes. Yes, they are. Mack had a real nice toast at the end there, raising the glass to the shield that had fallen, everybody who was there, everybody being important. Very good shield speech. Reminded me a lot of Coulson's shield speeches. So, from a director's standpoint, nice way to wrap things up and honor everybody that has fought for him. Definitely much smoother than his conversation with Yo-Yo afterwards. It was nice. They'd hit on that throughout the episode. I love Daisy talking to Mack about you've been staring at her for a half an hour. Go do something. I mean, these conversations have gone on in the episodes. I'm glad they wrapped it up here. Again, he's just not very smooth. Sure, the heart comes involved and you stumble. It happens. Him leaving and Yo-Yo doing her zoom to shut the door and pop back. A little cheesy. Sweet. I like the moment. I was expecting her to say something like, we can talk about it more in the morning. That probably would have been even more cheesier than the door thing. But still, it was sweet. I'm glad they wrapped it up. They're better together moving forward. And like any apparent finale, you are left with a teaser of what's to come. And in this case, it seems to be May shooting Sarge. Repeatedly. Last one felt like it was in the head. What? Let's not worry too much about this. I don't think Sarge is dead. Just because in the previews that we saw afterwards of next week's episode, you never see him with the sheet over the head. And they only do that when people are dead. Also, this could just be a body that's being possessed, and who knows what type of healing or reparative powers that whoever is possessing or driving Coulson, Sarge, this body. Bullets may not mean much of anything. What's going to end up being is who done it and where to come from. Obviously, we're looking at some sort of other possession of May, because again, sneak preview for next week shows what I did, what? Now the question is this Izel? Is this one of her powers to be able to possess? And is that what she did? Did she possess and jump into Davis? And that's how she got out of the ship? And just kind of him, that's why he got so tired and sort of went out, because his body's holding two different people. And then move into May's body. Now what this would seem to imply at the very least is that Davis isn't dead and his body was just being used as a vehicle. Because next week we see obviously that May isn't dead. And she's responding herself. We also, though, see Izel in her full red-headed body. So would she be able to then reform back into her own body? And is that her body and Phil's just, or Sarge just being possessed? I know it's getting confusing. We have a lot of questions for sure. That's what it was meant to do. Or is this something else? Is this a special kind of Shrike that can come in and out and possess different people? And then maybe Izel left on the Quinjet. Because again, that was still left. Sorry, I had a big crash outside. I don't know what that was. No screaming, so it's probably okay. I forgot where I was. Is this another type of Shrike that can transfer from body to body? Again, this would also seem to imply that Davis isn't necessarily dead. I want to lead into that because I really liked him and Piper especially going after each other and their back and forth. It'd be really bummer to lose him. So yeah, few questions going forward. Sarge may be dead for the moment, or apparently dead. I don't think that is going to last. We are definitely going to be moving, like I say, into, I think, a next stage of the story. We got to find out where Sarge comes from. Why does he look like Coulson, or is he actually in Coulson's body? What's the deal with Izel? And we haven't even touched on the monolith stuff, which is the whole reason why Izel is here. So I think that's where we're moving into our next section. Whether it's going to be a whole 8-episode pod and we're just going to get half of it in this season, we'll pick the rest up in next season. Seems like a lot of story to cover in 4 episodes, but the writers of this show are really good, so can never say for sure. Well, that's a lot, so how about we just go ahead and wrap this up now. Again, great episode, great end to this first chunk of story. I really think we've got a whole another 8-episode chunk. We're only going to see 4 of it this season. That's my belief. But we definitely have a lot more to dive into. Izel, Sarge, the monoliths. There's got to be time travel definitely going to be involved. So, again, a lot of stuff to cover. Do want to say, though, again, next week, I'm out of town, so I don't even know when I'm going to get to watch the show. The review is definitely going to be delayed. I was saying I'm hoping 24 or 48 hours. I'm looking at internet connections and where we're traveling and what's going on. I don't know when it's going to come out. It's going to be determined. As soon as I can, I got to find a place to watch the show first. And then kind of go from there. So definitely next week's episode, next week's review is going to be delayed. Just keep an eye on the channel. I will have it up as soon as I can. Hopefully before the next episode airs. Because I don't think I can wait that long to watch S.H.I.E.L.D. 2 weeks off? No, I can't do that. So I'll let you know, next week's review will be delayed. Will be up as soon as I can. But I think that covers all of us. Again, great episode. Great way of ending the storyline. Looking forward to where we are going next. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching this review. Thank you for your feedback. Thank you for all of your comments. I try to respond to all of them. It's been crazy getting ready here, so I've got only spare minutes here and there. So please put them out. I will respond and answer as quickly as I can. And of course, you can leave all those comments continually right down in the section below after you hit the like button. Let me know how much you enjoyed this. So yeah, comments, like, Instagram and Twitter at Darren Jakes. You can hit this button to subscribe. You can check out a couple of our other reviews. There's still more stuff to do, but I got to go pack. So thank you all so much. I'm D, and I'm out of here. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye.